I saw you at the Moon Tower Festival in Austin, and Jesus Christ, man, just hard-hitting, pounding comedy like Rocky in the Meat Locker.
Nothing subtle about it. A lot of screaming, a lot of cursing. Sort of the if I knew how to write a joke, I would probably bring the volume down a little more.
You know what I like about you is you're a man. And
I don't know about that. Don't put me on a pedestal this early.
Seems like,
it's only 2 minutes into your podcast.
It seems like you wouldn't be opposed to kicking somebody's ass. Some woman yelled out at you in Austin about the Boston bombings, and I thought you were
vein. It was a guy. It was a guy.
I thought a vein was going to burst on your forehead
because it was a very selfish. It wasn't selfish. It was an ignorant heckle that caused this moment in the show that I didn't create, but then I had to clean up. And the person thought that they were being clever. They tried to attach it to something that I had said, as like basically saying I was wrong. What about the Boston Bombers? And it had just happened.
Yeah, like 2 weeks before.
It had just happened. So now all the images. These are my squeaky chairs, by the way. This is not Tom's fault. All of that shit. He brought all of that right to the surface doing a comedy show, and it wasn't like I couldn't handle the moment. It's not like people haven't done that before. What bothered me was the tone that he said it in, that it was this, arms crossed, that arrogant, like...
Oh, you could see him?
No. The way he was talking was the vision in my head. I might have been wrong.
Do you remember what the guy said? Because it was early in your show.
No, I don't remember. But I'm old enough now to know that a lot, most of what you hear isn't what somebody said, because the second they say it, like I when people get offended at shows, it's like, dude, you didn't even hear what I said. Nobody really did, because everything I'm saying, the second I'm done saying it, and then it goes into other people's heads, it's immediately cut with their childhood, what happened to them last week. It's like drugs that's been stepped on. It's like it's not pure anymore. It's not what I said. It becomes what happens is how people take it is their truth, and then what I said combined with their experience, then that becomes what I said. It's like, that's not what I said. Everything was a joke, but, whatever. I brought up giraffes, and one kicked you in the balls when you were 8, and now all of a sudden I made a statement about, I'm pro-giraffe fucking whatever. So I try not to take that stuff seriously, but it was just like, I was tired. Part of it was me.
And you're from Boston.
Yeah, but I haven't lived there in since 95, so my connection with it, I was a guy from LA. I was looking at it from afar. I had more connection with 9/11 because I was in New York when it happened. So I didn't have that. That was right down the street. I did have a friend of mine who was running in the marathon, and he had just crossed the finish line 15 minutes earlier. Thank God. Yeah, it was just. I would say it was less the fact that it was the Boston bombing. It was the just what he. Just the arrogance, just the way he said it, it just really, and I wasn't in the right mood. Who knows? I could probably listen back to it right now and just say I overreacted.
I thought it was great, and I thought, and that was what made me think, Bill would go out in the audience and punch a guy out if.
No, I've never crossed that line.
Never.
In my adult life,
you never got close.
No, I've never had a fight.
You never had to leave from the back door of a club.
No, I've definitely had to do that, but I'm saying I have. I've worked a lot on my anger issues, but two reasons why I never, once I got past a certain age, I'd kind of knocked off the fighting. One was I was smaller than other people. I didn't hit my growth spurt until later, and then, I saw enough fights where I was just like, you're either the guy on top or the guy on the bottom, and you're rolling the dice. And the bottom line is, dude, was I don't really want to hurt anybody. I saw guys I know guys to this day, they did shit that they still regret. I know a guy who fucking hit somebody in the face with a bottle, and the guy got a scar from here to here, and it was just I don't want to be the guy with the scar, and I don't want to I didn't want to tap in to how angry I was. I didn't want to tap in to go down that road of either getting the living shit kicked out of me the very first fight, or 5 down the road. You knew it was coming, because I hung out with a lot of maniacs, and eventually the toughest guy just took that life-altering ass kicking. I was just I don't want to, I don't want to, I have. It's weird. I have control of my rage in a lot of ways, and I didn't want to see how deep it went, and I didn't want to see how deep somebody else's went, and it was the smartest fucking move I ever made. I avoided a lot of court things. I still have all my own teeth. I remember one time when I was living in New York, and they picked up this guy, arrested this guy who had just bludgeoned two old people to death to steal their fucking money in like Massachusetts, and you know what he was doing? He was handing out the flyers for those double-decker buses in New York, and that was just one of those things like you like, hey, fucking flyer guy, go fuck yourself. You have no idea who this guy is, and he just bludgeoned two old people to death, and it's that was very intimidating to me. So I mean, I'm not saying that I don't feel like I could win a fight, but I don't want to run into the double-decker bus guy. I always had that in my head, and I knew that, I started comedy early enough, and I always had something to lose, and my parents were smart enough to instill that in me, so I didn't. So what it would take for me, I'm not even going to put that out there, what it would take, because then somebody's going to fucking try it. I don't want to have that,
Right.
I was in the court system briefly when I was younger for some punk shit or whatever, and just having my toe dipped in it, what the fucking nightmare that it is to be sitting there as the potential defendant is just something you just don't want in your life. So,
yeah, I spent a weekend in jail when I was 19 in Little Rock, Arkansas, for an open container of beer, and since then I would never do like.
You obviously had nobody to call that you spent that long in jail for fucking open container. That should have been like your buddy comes down or your dad at like fucking 3 hours later.
But just that experience made me like I would never do like a serious crime, like fuck jail and all that.
No, I never would, but I have an anger in me that feels like I could make a shank and stick it in somebody's neck. I feel like I'm angry enough to do that. But my thing is, dude, I'm just too slow. I always had good hand-eye coordination. I could catch and shit, but I took some self-defense classes. Like, you could literally tell me what punch you're going to throw at me, and you're still going to hit me because I don't know if it's because my head's too fucking big. I just can't get it out of the way in time. So I always had to do the bull rush and try to take it to the ground. But, I'm no Joe Rogan. Trust me, man. That guy's the real deal.